So the Knicks have Kemba after OKC bought him out. For the Thunder's sake, I'm going to assume that this is like the Blake Griffin buyout where they are just eating the money for like 2 years or whatever. I would highly doubt that they stretched his contract over 4 or 5 years or whatever. And for the Knicks, I'm also going to assume that this is not a long contract. I did see that someone said that it's about an $8 million a year deal. I'm going to assume for 1 year. If it's longer than that and I just haven't found it, then okay. For the Knicks, I mean, it's assuming that it's not a long contract. It's a low risk move because if Kemba's healthy, then he can be really good. And if he's not, then you didn't pay much for him anyway. He played in about half of the games that he was available for last season, and within those games, he was good in about half of them. So I don't know if the expectations should be super high, but again, not really much of a cost to it, so okay. I'm guessing that Kemba will be the starter because Derrick Rose already got used to coming off the bench. D Rose might be better than Kemba at this point, but you know the way the NBA is sometimes. So if Kemba starts, that gives them another shooter. He's probably not going to play high 30s in minutes or probably even mid 30s, maybe low 30s, mid to high 20s in minutes, I guess, so they can have a bit of a revolving door at point guard. Is it possible we could see Kemba and Derrick Rose playing together? Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see what Tibbs wants to do there. I would think that long-term that does not have the best shelf life defensively, but, the Knicks defensively overall should still be good. As far as how this affects Emmanuel Quickley, to be honest, I'm not really concerned at all, mainly because Quickley already played a bunch of minutes with Derrick Rose last season, so I figure he can just do that with D Rose and Kemba through different parts of the game this year, so I think Quickley will be fine. I would guess that we will not see all three of them together that much, but maybe. As far as Kemba's fit with the other dudes, I mean, look, the bigs and Julius Randle can set screens for him. He can space the floor out for the other stuff they're doing. It really just comes back to if he can stay on the court and if he's good when he's on there. That's pretty much it. So that's all I got there. The other thing, too, is Kemba could be a trade chip for the Knicks, whether that's at the deadline or something. If somebody's willing to give you something for him, if he still looks pretty okay, but you don't want to give him a long-term deal because, again, I'm just assuming this is not a long-term deal. I haven't been able to find it anywhere. Then you could get something else for that as well. So overall, why not if you're the Knicks? This seemed like a Kemba just had one place he wanted to go to sort of thing. I mean, I don't know who else was willing to give Kemba some money. I mean, maybe other teams were offering him either the minimum or some biannual exception, whereas the Knicks, I think, are willing to give him, I think, like $7 or $8 million, which is almost as much as the full mid-level, so maybe he just went where the money was. The other thing that happened as I was sleeping was the Hawks and John Collins agreed to $125 for 5. I think that's fine. I mean, even if you don't think John Collins is worth that, what else were the Hawks going to do? If it's between overpaying or losing the guy, sometimes you just have to overpay. And Collins is good, of course. The other question for Atlanta now is suddenly some of their other young dudes are going to be up for extension between Herter and Reddish and all that. As they've said, you can't pay everybody, so we'll see what they want to do there. They already tried to trade Reddish and basically reset the asset to Indiana. That fell through. The one guy they should definitely bring back of their young dudes is DeAndre Hunter, and you'd like to bring back Kevin Herter, but if he wants $20 million or close to that, then it just might not be possible. What other things have happened? My Celtics signed Dennis Cantor. Okay, their offseason continues to be blah. The Sixers have Andre Drummond as a backup on a minimum. I was going to do a video, but then I just kind of didn't about that one. I mean, I guess Andre Drummond's whole thing just came at him really fast. He had to have thought he was worth more than that. For the Sixers' sake, I mean, they have had problems when Embiid sits, and if Drummond buys in, then he actually could be a very good backup big guy for 15, 16 minutes a game. It's just, will he be willing to do that? He signed the contract, so hopefully. Obviously, the guy does not believe he's going to be starting, so that's that. But yeah, Kemba and the Knicks, relatively low risk.